We all begin making a short film with big dreams, because why wouldn't we? We all want to make something as good as Spider-Verse, Arcane, Wild Robot, or even making something that ends up viral on the internet. But then you get started and reality hits, and you're 3 months in and your storyboards are half finished, your rigs are broken, and the production stress is just piling on day by day. Trust me, I've been there. I literally just finished my student film like a couple months ago, and I made a mistake that honestly almost cost me my graduation. So today I'm sharing all the tips that saved me so you can make a successful film, one that you can actually finish. To make the most successful student film, you actually don't want to aim to make the best film ever. Wait, now hear me out. To make the best film, you have to allocate your time to every single part equally. You gotta make sure the boards are perfect, the storyboards are nice, the animation is amazing, the compositing is beautiful. You gotta focus on every little aspect of the entirety of the film. But when you only have 8 months to make a short, that's most of the time unrealistic unless you are so talented and just so goated. So what I've learned is that your film is actually your portfolio. You are showcasing to the industry what your talents are and exactly what part of the pipeline you want to go into the most. So in turn, your film should reflect that. Let's say if you are someone that's more interested in 3D environments, then your story should be something that allows you to explore multiple environments. Stories that allow you to have maybe a scene in a character's room, some nature elements, maybe some outdoor shots, or let's say you want to focus on animation, then maybe you want to limit your sets. You want to make sure that your story allows for emotional moments, maybe allowing 2 characters to interact with each other, changing the mood, making sure the lip syncs are correct. When you know what part of the pipeline you want to go to, you can make sure that you focus on that element for your film. So you're not pulling yourself too thin, and you should be focusing on the parts that will get you jobs that you actually want to do. And this kind of leads into my second point, is knowing what direction you want to take your film and what is your bigger overall goal that you want to accomplish, and making sure that the advice that you take kind of reflects that. Because once you start developing your story, you're gonna get so much feedback from so many people, like your family members, your peers, your friends, your professors, your mentors. Like literally everyone is going to have something to say about your film, and you need to make sure that you don't get lost. Like I see so many people just try to take everyone's advice, and then because of that their story gets muddled, it gets changed into something completely different, and they end up with a product that they're not even interested in doing anymore, because that's not the direction they wanted with their story in the first place. And no, I'm not saying that like your story cannot change from what it is, because it is very good to have other people put their input into your story, so you're making sure that your story makes sense, that it flows, that there are not parts of it that's like missing or confusing or anything like that. But you need to make sure that the advice that you're taking is feeding into the bigger goal that you have. Like for me, I wanted to focus a lot more on lighting and environment, so I made sure that my story had a lot of different variety of this element. So whenever I'm taking advice from other people, I'm making sure that yeah, maybe I might be changing bits of the story, bits of the character, but I'm still keeping like my multiple sets and my multiple different lighting changes. Like those I'm like not cutting for sure, but like other elements I'm a little bit more flexible with. Just remember, not all advice is good advice. Now, on the other hand, I will say if there are multiple people who are saying the same thing about your story or about your work, that's also something to be aware of. It might be telling you it might be something that you need to change. Because if multiple people find the same issue with your work, it might not just be a biased opinion, it actually might be something of substance. It kind of warrants you to have a second look at that area. So ooh, yes. So this is one of the reasons why I think a lot of people end up not finishing their films, is kind of like their reluctance to move on, especially in the pre-production phase. And I get it, like it's very fun, you're exploring a lot of different ideas, everything is very bright, it's very new, it's very shiny, but at a certain point you need to know when to stop. And this kind of leads into make a production plan as early as possible. Once you kind of have like your story in mind, you kind of have a general idea about which direction you want to go, I would start grabbing a calendar and just blocking things out about like how long you think you're gonna take doing animation, doing viz dev, doing storyboard, your animatics, your post-production, like your compositing or everything like that, just so you have a general timeline. Very importantly, I want you to add a cut-off date of when you are not changing your script, not touching your storyboards or your animatic at all, because there comes a certain point where you need to just stop touching it and just start heading to production. It takes so long. Animation takes so much time, so much effort, so much revision. Like it's going to take a huge chunk of your time, so you need to know when to just start doing it. And then sometimes along the way, if you encounter a really big problem within animating or anything like that, then maybe you can change some parts that are making a really big issue. But before then, sometimes you just need to start. And regarding the production plan, I will say try to make things due earlier when they're actually due. I would set your actual due date 2 weeks before it's actually due, just so there's like enough time just in case anything happens, like you get sick, a family member gets sick, the school electricity gets cut off, because that's exactly what happened to me. And then my production got delayed for a little bit because I was like rendering stuff out and I didn't have enough computers to use. Like literally anything can happen. And honestly, most of like being able to finish finish your film is on time management. Like, it is the boring truth. So it's like, once you have a production plan, and make sure it's realistic. Like, don't be overly ambitious and like 2 weeks for animation, you know? Like, you be realistic. Like, animation is probably going to take you like 2 months, maybe 3 months even, and try not to be more than a week behind, because if you are more than that, it becomes a lot harder to catch up, and you just don't want that stress piling and piling up until it like bursts like near the end of you finishing the film. Like, I know in the beginning when you're in like month 2, month 3, like it seems like you have so much time left, but trust me, there really isn't. So the point is just get started as soon as possible, make a production schedule, and just stick with it. My next point is just be cautious about the people that you bring onto your project and onto your film. Like, it is mostly a solo project because you are directing everything and you kind of are in charge, but you will have external people helping out. Like, you would have composers, voice actors, maybe sound design people, or any additional helpers that are helping you with cleanup, coloring, or anything like that. I would say just, if you are getting them to work on your film, make sure you go through their portfolio, their work, and their websites or anything like that. Make sure their work is aligned with yours and is exactly what you're looking for. And also jump on calls with them. Communicate. Please communicate. Talk to them about your vision, your goals. Make sure they're on the same page as you. They understand how much this project means to you, and they're just as passionate about your project as you are. And if possible, I would say try to have backups, especially for like, let's say like composers. Having 2 composers allows you to be just a little bit more safe, just in case one ghosts you, they disappear, or anything like that. Because we have had a lot of instances where composers will just drop off in the face of the planet and you can never find them again. And then music is such an integral part of film. Make sure you have check-ins with them, like bi-weekly check-ins, just setting deadlines earlier than when you need them, just in case anything blows up. And this relates to my next point of back up everything, and I mean everything. If you don't already have an external drive, what are you doing? Please get one like right now. I would say at least get one that's like 1 terabyte. Like, that should be pretty safe for you. If you can't get like 2 terabytes, that'd be like amazing, but just back up everything, like things you don't even know, like script, Visda, references, anything like that. Back it up on your own computer, on your hard drive. If you have a computer at school as well, back it up on there. Every time you open a file, save a new version before you work on it. You just want to kind of get into the habit and make sure everything is clear and organized, because like you literally never know. Your files get corrupted. Like, that happens all the time. You don't know. Sometimes files just like randomly disappear and just never find them again. Like, for me, if you saw my previous vlogs, like my desktop literally blew up 2 days before my film was due, and I had some things that I didn't back up, so I had to like rush to school and literally redo so many things. Like, you don't want to do that. You just don't need that additional stress. So literally just back everything up. It would save you so much in the long run. And I would say, like, when you feel behind or you feel stuck or kind of just burnt out, I would just say it's just best to take a break. Like, from what I've learned, it's not worth it pull in all-nighter just to get things done. Like, maybe if you're on the very last day, then maybe warrants an all-nighter, but if you can, you're actually just more productive if you just go to bed and just wake up a little bit earlier the next morning and just work on it then. Like, your mind will be clearer, you'll make smarter decisions. Like, you don't want to be kind of like confused, or you don't want your brain to be hazy when you're making this film. So I would just say, like, just take it easy and just like schedule in breaks. Making a film is a lot, but it is important to still live your life, hang out with friends, or anything like that. If you are truly behind to the point where you feel like you can't catch up, I would say just think about the bigger goal for your film, and that will also tell you where you need to cut. Like, for me, I wanted to focus more on compositing, so there was a certain point in my animation process where I'm like, you know what, like, I can't be spending too much time on this. Like, as long as it reads well, character kind of moves, and it doesn't feel like too static, then I'm just like moving on, because I just need to get this done. And making sure that you're spending all your time and energy on like the main goals and the main aspects of your film, and anything that's a little bit more like unimportant or things you're not interested in, you're just like moving on. Okay, so for 3D films, I would say make sure your style is doable. I know everybody wants to do that arcane painterly style, and it is really nice, especially with tools like Blender now, which I believe make it a lot easier, but still make sure that it's something that is doable and it's something that you can repeat over and over again. If you're someone who's doing a film kind of like mine, where I had a lot of sets and a lot of props, tiny things and things like that, you want to make sure that the style that you're doing is something that you're able to replicate, and to make sure everything is of consistent high quality. Like, for that to happen, you just have to do a lot of experiments. If it works well, like, how long is it taking you? Can you streamline this process? Can you make presets or copy and paste assets that you can just skew a little bit, that you can just fill in the space, or anything like that? So just try things out and make sure they work. Also, choose like a small scene in your film and just just complete it all the way through, like complete the block-ins, the animation, the compositing, the rendering, just everything, just so you can kind of have a mini trial run of what's it going to take to kind of finish your film. And that way, testing out render times will allow you to know how much time you need to allocate for rendering, because honestly for 3D especially, renders take so long. Sometimes if your scenes are so heavy, it's like a minute a frame and it's like 24 frames a second. Like how long is that going to take you if you're making like a 2-minute or even a 3-minute film? And if it's taking too long, you need to figure out ways to try to make the render time shorter. It's just a lot of testing and making sure things are working properly, so when you get to that stage, you're not like, oh my god, like what is happening, like I don't have enough time to do all of this. Like you're well prepared in advance. Also, like I feel like there's a little bit of a prejudice of using pre-made assets or like making a film that's not completely your own. Like what I've been saying earlier, like look at your bigger goal. Like if your focus is on animation, there's no shame at all to use pre-made assets. Like you don't want to be spending so much time modeling a character, rigging it up and testing everything like that when you just want to go into animation. Like if that's your goal, then I would just say maybe you should buy a rig or get a free character online and just use that and focus all your time on animating, because that's what you want to do. I would say that's very helpful and effective. Like of course make sure you credit where you need to, but at the end of the day, if it serves your bigger purpose of your film, I don't see why it's a bad thing to use pre-made assets. It just streamlines your process just a lot better. And now for this part, I'm just going to go a little bit deeper into like the Sheridan animation like 4th year thesis film. First thing I would say is start planning now if you have not started. Like start coming up with story ideas. You don't have to come up with a lot, maybe like 2, 3, 4 is good enough. Start experimenting with styles. Think about like the medium you want to do. What type of genre do you want your film to be? What type of mood or anything like that? Just start thinking things through, because you are pitching like week 1 of 4th year. The first week of your mentor meeting is when you guys are already pitching ideas, and then for the next couple more weeks you're slowly starting to filter out your ideas and refining everything. So I would say get started as soon as possible, just because you want to have as much time as you can. Make sure the story is solid and it's something that you want to do. And even when you're starting with ideating, I would say try not to get too attached to a certain idea, because once everyone starts giving out their inputs, especially from your mentors, the story will change a lot. Like mine changed so much from how it initially was. So I would say don't get too attached, because sometimes there's another story that you might not like as much, but it works a lot better for your film. I will also say that your mentor group can be one of your biggest assets. If you are lucky enough and you land a good mentor and a good supportive group, I would say use that to your advantage. Like please, like go to your mentor meetings, ask for advice. These are the people that you're going to be seeing like pretty much every week for like the next 8 months, so you want to get their opinion and their advice as well. If you unfortunately do land a not so great group or a not so great mentor, don't be afraid to reach out to other professors. A lot of the other professors are more than willing to help other students as well. So if your mentor is not as helpful for you, I would say look for other peers or look for other professors in the mindset of, oh, like my mentor's not good, so I'm just gonna skip meetings and that's it. Like no, go look for other resources. Now this is one of the most important points, but oh my god, keep it simple. Like I am so serious about your film. Keep it as simple as possible, especially with your story. It's pretty much like character A goes from point A to point B. Like there's really nothing more to it. You don't know how little 1 minute is until you start making a short film. Like if you think it's simple, strip it down even further. Like it has to read so well to the audience. It's kind of like I don't want to say in a sense speaking to kids, but it's like your mother or your grandmother has to be able to understand the story. The minimum requirement for film is 1 minute, but don't go over like 3, because you don't want to spread yourself too thin. Industry day, you're only submitting 1 minute. It doesn't matter if your film is 1 minute long or 5 minutes long. They're only going to see 1 minute at the end of the day. So you need to make sure that 1 minute is so impactful and it's something that they remember, because they are going through so many people's films. So you need to make sure that your film stands out. It's much rather preferred like do like a 2-minute film, and then near the end of production, you're figuring out that you have a lot of time left. Then that's wonderful. You can go back and you can revise things. Maybe you can add more elements, make things a little bit more punchy, or make things a little bit even more pretty. Like you'd rather do that than to like approach the end of production and you realize that you have a lot unfinished, so you have to start cutting things out, because that's a lot more noticeable than you going back and adding more things because you have more time. So I would say just keep things very strict. My next point is know your deadlines. This might sound simple, but for some reason for 4th year, a lot of like the people that are in charge of 4th year don't really know the deadlines, or like they don't really give you a concrete answer. I don't understand why it's that way, but it just ends up being like that. For us, film is due week 12. It's not due like the end of the semesters. It's due week 12, which means it's due roughly around the beginning of April. So make sure you allocate time for that. And like the sizzle reel, which is around like a 3-second cut of your film for promotional purposes for industry day, was for us due week 2 of semester 2. Because for our year, a lot of things were very confusing because they would not be telling us deadlines. And the final deadlines are also a little bit weird. So I believe our full film was due first, I believe like roughly week 12 for like the awards reel and to get graded by your mentor. And then there's 2 other deadlines, which is the 1-minute cut for industry day. So there are like kind of 3 final deadlines for film, which is a little confusing, but that's just kind of how it is. And I will say like another trick is find the people that are actually in charge of putting things together for when things are due. So people that are in charge of putting the sizzle reel together, or the people that are in charge of putting the industry day 1-minute cut together. Just in case like if you need any extensions or you have any problems with your files, I would say go to them because they are the ones putting it together, so they know it the best. At least for our year, people who were in charge of it was the tech people. So just go to the people that are actually doing the things that you need to hand in for. Oh yes, also make sure you do a film that you like. That is so important. Do something that you are passionate about and that you'll have fun with. Thank you to Maya Melon for commenting. They actually inspired this video because they've been asking about what 4th year was like and kind of like more tips and advice, so I thought to make this video. So hopefully it was helpful to everyone. If you are curious about the production sheet that I used for my thesis film, I will be making a more in-depth video about that next week, and I'll also be sharing the template for that for free as well. So stay tuned for that. If you guys have any other questions about making a short film or about thesis film or anything like that, of course leave in the comments and I will make sure to answer. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next week for my production sheet. Bye!